All right. I hate losing. I hate it with a passion. And this team, for the life of me, I don't think that collectively speaking, people get it. I think that people are looking at it like, okay, we can just lose out, we can get some draft picks, and everything will work its way out. When you're the 32nd ranked defense in the National Football League, a bunch of rookies will not help you. It will not save you. And when we think about the front office and their thinking, if they don't go out there and get something to complement those picks, then we're going to be spinning around this thing and going through the same thing over and over again. Insanity. Doing the exact same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Nevertheless, let's listen in to Stephen Jones and see what he have to say about everything.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm curious what your take, what the organization's take is. Do you view, after last night's game and the results of the other teams in the division this weekend, do you view the playoff chase as over or not?
Yeah, we right now where we are is it's just week to week. We've got to go out and go to work every day. Obviously, on the defensive side of the ball, especially the running game, it's just we're not executing right now. We're not good at stopping the run. Obviously, it speaks for itself.
Did this brother just say that we are just not executing? Is that his angle?
No, God!
Come on, Stephen Jones. It's more than just not executing. Oh my God, man! I don't even want to go into details.
We played a team who's really, who is really efficient running the football, and certainly our inefficiency showed up. And right now all we got to focus on is, we got to go to work every day and try to get better. There's certainly some positive things, that we did offensively, and certainly Pollard had a nice a kick return that gave us some energy, but we're just not getting it done on the defensive side of the ball right now.
Are you surprised that
Oh, really? Oh, really? I recall a time that Stephen Jones was sitting back saying, we like our guys. I recall a time when I said, not just me, multiple people that follow this team, go and get this guy, or go and try to get that guy. But we like our guys. And when now you see that the defense is not doing what they supposed to do, I know we have a bevy of injuries and we can use those excuses and say, well, we got the short end of the stick. Last I checked, even when we had the Diggs, and I like him, he had to go through his growing pains, we were still on a historic pace of giving up all types of crazy yards as relates to that side of the ball defense, right? Historically speaking. Nevertheless, they said that they like our guys. The craziest thing of it all, Cowboy Nation, is we can see something and they will be blind to it. Before it even happened, we can be telling them, hey, and I'm not sitting here saying, because we are fans at heart, I'm not sitting here saying that we would be, better at coaching, better at GM, better at running this organization. But damn it, we can see some issues with this team. And we lament over and over, make these things happen. And the Joneses, all they do is rearrange the furniture on the Titanic. That's all they doing. Oh, let's put the chair over here. Nah, let's pick it up and move it here. Oh, can you move that frame and put it in this corner? That is what the Cowboys, collectively speaking, do every single year. They blame the player, blame the player, blame the coach, blame the player, blame the coach, blame the player. Just change this out, and everything been the exact same thing since 19 of 95.
The defense, specifically the run defense, hasn't become any more efficient or effective as the season has gone on?
Well, certainly I know it's frustrating to everybody, whether it's our coaching staff, whether it's the players. That's just the number one thing on defense ever since I've been in this league. Any coach you talk to is to stop the run. And when you don't do that, you end up in the type of situation we are right now, which is, we're not winning many football games, and, we're just not getting the run stopped. And it's certainly, difficult for a football team when you can't stop the run.
No, God! John Stephen Jones, I'm not trying to throw any salt or shade at our interior. So you expecting to stop the run with Antoine Woods, Eli, and Naku, whatever his name is, that we done picked off. He played for the Texans. He played for the Cleveland Browns, right? A journeyman at best. Oh, Justin Hamilton, shout out to him. He's from my hometown. But let's be real with it, okay? I cannot smell this BS much longer, right? And on top of that, you expecting to get this thing done with Walmart, Dollar General, pay less, TJ Maxx, Burlington Cofactor, all of those stores, Dollar Tree. You expecting to stop the run with those guys? Come on, man. It's not going to happen. Look, I can give you guys an example. When you have a flat tire on your car, they got this thing called a spare tire. When you pull it up and pull it out of the trunk and you put it on, there's a set of instructions. The instruction says clearly, do not drive over 50 miles per hour and try not to drive longer or more than 50 miles on said spare tire. What we got on this particular team, and I know it's going to go over a lot of people's head because they're only going to look at it like, let's do this, let's do that. But what we got, essentially speaking, is that we got spare tires on a car, and we moving and we rolling. And they say just because we made it to such and such state, we okay. We don't have to invest in getting a real tire on this vehicle. And when it's time to have the moment to do anything, that spare tire will not perform up to the level of where we looking for. Because everything else is working so much harder. That's why you see the poor play out of the linebackers. That's why you see the actual poor play out of some of the safety plays out of this situation. Because we're not getting any pressure from the interior. That's football speaking to you. And as much as money that they are making, the Joneses, all of the Johnny Walker Blue, it seems as every time they take a sip, knowledge leaves their minds. And we as fans, we are being held up to that situation. Believe it or not, all we got is passion. We can't change nothing. Let's listen to more what he have to say.
Stephen, when you and Mike talk, McCarthy, I know you guys talk a lot because that's what the part of the job is. Do you feel like the two of you feel like the talent is there, or do you feel like something's still missing on the field?
I think that's what we're trying to get our hands around. Obviously, this is, Mike's first year. He's trying to get his hands around it. I know we feel like, the guys can ultimately execute what we need them to execute. I think we've got good football players. It's just right now, we're just not executing. I mean, it's a similar group.
Just rewind to what I said earlier and insert that into this conversation.
Group of guys out on that field who last year were, certainly weren't inefficient against the run. So I'm convinced we can get the job done. It's just, for whatever the reason right now, it's not getting done.
I was asked this on radio in Canada yesterday, as a matter of fact, Stephen. Yeah, I was in Canada. Have you gotten a fair assessment of your players, your team, and your coaching staff this year? Do you feel like you've gotten a fair assessment of those?
I think when it's all said and done, we'll be able to take, the full body of work and get an assessment. I think it's a work in progress. I think, obviously, we're looking at all the moving parts that we have this year. One of the things you look to on the defensive side of the ball is we haven't had the injuries like we have on the offensive side of the ball. So that's even more problematic when you take a look at our inabilities to have some success against the run. That's certainly frustrating. So, we got to look at the full body of work when this is all said and done. And as I said to start the show, we've just got to go to work each and every week, and we've got to hopefully turn the corner. We thought we were doing that at one point this year, but, at one point after we played Philly and Pittsburgh, and it looked like we were getting a little better, and then obviously the last 2 weeks we've taken a step backwards.
Well, man, I try to let him talk. I know a lot of people be like, hey, man, quit pausing it, man. But this stuff right here, I got to get it out, right? Here's the situation. There's been no catastrophic injuries on the defensive side of the ball, right? And he just lamented that, and I said that a couple of weeks ago. Somebody is listening, right? Here's the situation. We can go back and forth about the players, and we can go back and forth about these things of saying that, okay, they love their guys. And we can go back and forth about, hey, how they can properly evaluate this and how they can properly evaluate that. But the number one issue is that you didn't do your due diligence. Let me repeat, you didn't do your due diligence. Mike Nolan, regardless of the situation, whereas we can say, yes, this is going to be a mulligan. But the smoke keep following him for a reason. Not everybody is lying. Old folks say that all the time. Not everybody is lying. And I know that is going to go over a lot of people's head. Everywhere Mike Nolan went, he was ranked bottom half of his defense. Let me repeat. Everywhere Mike Nolan went, he was ranked bottom half. His winning percentage as a head coach is .327, I believe. And I'm going off the top of my dome. I think he's like 18 of 37. I believe that's what you get from that number. Mike Nolan may be a wonderful guy. He may be a brilliant person to talk to, but he have no business being anybody's head coach. And not head coach, defensive coordinator, by the way. And you got to give partial blame to Mike McCarthy, all these damn Mikes. But you got to give partial blame to Mike McCarthy for this. Because it was a solid hiring your dog that got you in. And I understand. You always want to protect your own. I feel you on that. But this is not this type of business. This is business. My thing is, we cannot continue to use those bevies of excuses, because all I've seen is the Giants quietly being ranked top 10 defense in the National Football League with the same set of circumstances. COVID. A bunch of rookies starting in their secondary. Quietly. Top 10 in the National Football League. Let that sink into your mental. Oh, I got a better one for you. The Washington team. Coach fighting for his natural life. Cancer is a bitch. But this guy continue to put on the hard hat and grind. Got this particular team over there in Washington playing lights out on defense. One can say that, hey, Law, check this out. They got a nice front four. They guys are flying out to the ball doing all of what they can do. But the reality of it is we don't hear the bevies of excuses No OTAs, no all season. Their defense getting better and better every week. Because it's preparation. They preparing themselves. And the Cowboys, we sit back with the lackadaisy. Oh, everything is okay. We just got to execute. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this again. If I draw up a play for Shaquille O'Neal to shoot the three, will he execute that play? Will he hit it on a normal, basic time? Will he continue to be fluid and making that three? You guys get the point?
Stephen, you mentioned the offensive side and the injuries, and I thought the offensive line, for the guys that have to be out there, I thought they worked really hard and honestly had a really good game.
I did too. I thought we, like I said, there's certainly some things to point to on the offensive side of the ball where we're executing and doing a good job. I thought we ran the ball well when we needed to run it. I thought we protected Andy for the most part really well, and I thought our receivers made some plays. And the tough part of last night is we really like our kicker, and he missed some field goals that obviously set us back and would have kept us in that game a little better down the home stretch had we made those field goals. But that's why at the end of the day you want to get the ball in the end zone, in the red zone, and we didn't get that done, and that's where we've got to get more efficient as we move forward. But I thought overall the offense, the offense is doing some things, that I think execution-wise, that you can win with.
Well, and Stephen, I know a lot of people were frustrated. I saw this on social media last night with the kicking situation. In Kai Forbath's name kept popping up, and they were like, why was that guy not our kicker instead of this guy? And I'm kind of curious as to the decision there, because I know Greg during the mini training camp, he was unstoppable. So I'm kind of curious as to what you've seen happen there.
Well, Greg's a talented guy, and certainly you just, we have a lot of confidence in him. I think he, certainly has all the talent to be one of the better kickers in this league. He's got a powerful leg. Those were, certainly not chip shots. 2 of the 3 were certainly not chip shots that he missed. And certainly you look at the kicker on the other side of the ball, and, he misses one that he's probably going to – I think he'd made 70 in a row from that distance. But, we just got to –
No comparison, fam. No comparison.
That kicking situation is a cold night, and we just didn't get the job done.
Talking with Stephen Jones right here on 105.3 The Fan. I'm curious, not just for you, I'm sure all teams have to do this balancing act, whether it's Greg Zuerlein, whether it's players on the defense, whether it's whoever. How do you make that determination, or how do you balance out, I've seen you do it in the past, but I don't know if you can do it anymore in the future. Maybe it's because the player's gotten older, maybe their skills have diminished, or whatever the case may be. How do you determine that you did it in the past, but I don't know if you can do it anymore?
Yeah, I mean, that's like you said, that's the balancing act. You certainly look at the full body of work. You look at, where they are in their career. Are they on the front side of it? Are they in their prime? Are they on the back side of their career? And those are all things that you measure. And certainly that's what we'll be doing in the off season, is looking at the full body of work for this year, and then looking at the full body of work for what we feel like that player's done. And then, that's when you make your decisions. But, right now we've got 4 games left to play. We've got to go to work and really get after it in terms of, making improvement. And right now we're making some improvement in some areas, but certainly defense, we've got to take some big steps to see where we're going to go on the defensive side of the football.
Stephen, I know you're at the game, so you're not watching the game like we are on television and listening to Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, but how much do you hear after a game is over or the next day what one of the greatest Cowboys of all time says about the effort and energy of your team?
Well, I don't, those guys are paid to to critique, what they're seeing, and I certainly respect that. But, we're worried about what we do internally and what we're going to do in the future. And we'll be certainly looking at, how hard our players are playing. I do see effort on both sides of the ball.
I want to say this, and there's a lot of people that get mad and angry and upset at Troy Aikman for speaking the truth when he's talking bad about the Cowboys, and they want Troy Aikman to speak glowingly of the Cowboys on a national stage and spotlight them. And he's in a situation where if you speak glowingly, he's considered he just a homer. Now, if he speak negative, he's just a hater. And we got a problem with that. Because collectively speaking, I think that, and I'm not talking to you guys that's listening right now, right? I'm just talking collectively. We got a bunch of soft baby boo-boo players. I mean, fan base, fans that will whine and cry and expect for everybody to say positive things only on national TV, saying that Troy Aikman is wrong and he's not professional and things like that. Let me tell you guys, the last time Troy Aikman was on the field and when we was winning or what have you, it was because of his speaking out. Remember, we have to win in spite of the coaching. When they brought in Barry Switzer, huh? Do you guys remember that, right? It's so many people are so fickle in a sense and don't want the truth. People would like to have these comfortable lies. People would sit back and say, well, the Cowboys organization is being ran well. I've seen people try to compare Mike McCarthy to Jimmy Johnson's first year, not knowing that Mike McCarthy is a seasonal head coach, right? Jimmy Johnson was a rookie head coach. First time in the National Football League with an old team. Ed Too Tall was in his 40s almost. We didn't have nobody close to an Amari Cooper. We didn't have nobody close to Ezekiel Elliott. But these people will sit back and placate this thing and say, well, Law, look at Jimmy Johnson's first year. He was 1-15. This is not the same. This is not. Stop it. We got players. I digress. Our fans, sometimes, the way they come at Troy Aikman is at epic levels of delusions and being delusional about the truth. People fail to realize the truth is stranger than fiction. The truth is the hardest pill to swallow. And everybody in this modern day time would rather to have somebody to lie to kick it to them. And nobody wants the truth.
And on special teams, I do think our players are playing hard.
They can't accept
I just think right now when you're not executing, some frustration can build up. And certainly our confidence is not where it needs to be. And you don't have your confidence and you're not executing, then you can have some frustration. We understand that, and we've got to certainly continue to work to be better at that.
Kind of along.
It's crazy.
Are directed towards next year when you've pointed out y'all still have the Bengals coming up. You still feel like the season is still viable. Does it frustrate you when the questions start to steer away from this season?
It doesn't frustrate me. I mean, I certainly understand why there are those questions, but at the same time, we've got to stay the course. I mean, that's what certainly the job is of people who do our games. The job of the people on the pre and post game shows that that show our football games. It's their job to have opinions and to critique, and we understand that's what they do. And it's our job to continue to work to be better as an organization, to be better as a football team, and put ourselves in a position to build going forward.
Yeah, John Daniels, who is the president of baseball for the Texas Rangers, he said that he has a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, and a 5-year plan. I was wondering, when it comes to NFL football, because it's different. You guys don't have a minor league farm system. You guys have to pick out of college football. You don't kind of own 150 minor league players in your organization. Do you guys have like a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year plan, or how does that work?
Absolutely. I mean, you're certainly looking to give yourself every opportunity, and we certainly feel like we've got a young football team year in and year out that we have an opportunity to have success. And certainly when you're signing guys long-term to 5-year deals, then you're certainly looking at, hey, who's going to be around these guys, for the next 5 years. Certainly as we're negotiating Dak's contract, that comes into play. You sign an Amari Cooper, you sign, you've got offensive linemen. We just signed Lyle a couple of years ago. All those things play into the, to the 1 year, the 3 year, and the 5 year. And certainly, as you've seen, we'll do 2 and 3 year deals as well. But one thing about the NFL, which everybody sees, you can be in the Super Bowl 1 year and out of the playoffs the next year, and you can come from being out of the playoffs to in the Super Bowl. So, with the salary cap, it's certainly different, as you say, than Major League Baseball, who has a farm system, that type of thing. You could certainly make a quick turnaround, in the NFL, and it's certainly shown to be the case year in and year out.
Along the Dak Prescott.
Those who failed the plan to fail. Now, my thing is with this whole situation when he's talking about planning. Now, here's the situation. The Cowboys have not sniffed the Super Bowl since 1995, nor even one of those championship games as it relates to get into the actual Super Bowl, the doggone conference championship game. So my thing is, we looking at this particular team, and he's talking about, okay, we signed Lyle Collins. I give him that. He showed some growths of what have you. But, there's so many things as it relates to, okay, what are the Cowboys trying to do with the longer term contracts? Because we can clearly see that, okay, you drafted a guy, you evaluate the guy, and then you have to make the decisions in order to keep the guy. So the decision to move on from Byron Jones is crazy to me, because now that's supposed to have been a person that you develop and you've seen the growth aspect of him. He may not be getting the returns that you want, but you let him go, right? Now you're seeing that the defense is on this historic level of epic failure, right? Now we look at everything with the contract with Dak Prescott. Oh, that planning was all involved with his contract, and we could have signed him for $22 million. But you kept on sliding pushing the envelope, pushing the needle, sliding this back, pushing this back. Now you got to pay twice as much more than what you originally wanted to pay for him. And the same could be said of with DeMarcus Lawrence. You franchise tagged him twice, right? On a prove-it situation, and then, okay, before we can ink the paper, let's just tear up this situation and pay him more. That was the situation of properly planning? They paid him off of 2 years of production, and I'm not throwing any shade at DeMarcus Lawrence. That ship doesn't sail right now. He's dominant on his side of the situation. He's just not going to get the quarterback sacks, but he's doing what he can do with what he got. So now we're looking at everything, and they keep muffling and bumping this thing all around. You paid Ezekiel Elliott 2 years before his contract was due. So what are the thought tracks with that? I'm not going to get into contract talks right now.
Lines obviously will always take any updates there, but more.
It's crazy. It's one of those days. Crazy.
Look at any of those long-term contracts that quarterbacks have gotten over the last 1, 2, and 3 years, and seeing how they impact those franchises. Does that impact your line of thinking? Do you look at the Eagles and see what a tough spot they're in now? And does that impact your line of thinking or negotiations with Dak?
Well, it certainly is. I mean, that's why we, when we're trying to negotiate this contract, it's certainly not easy. And, we're looking at it. We've been out front, and I think everybody's aware of the issues here. With probably why this deal hadn't been done is more length of term than it has been the actual amount of the contract. And so certainly shows you our confidence in Dak, because, we want him here for the long term. And certainly when you make a bad decision on a big contract, it can affect you. I can't speak for the Eagles. I don't know where they are with Carson Wentz and what their long-term thoughts are on Carson.
And you should shush it right now. Don't talk no much more on somebody else. Don't talk any much more on somebody else's money or somebody else's decisions. Say, hey, I can't talk on Carson. Hey, that's Philadelphia Eagles land fault and problem. We got to focus on the Dallas Cowboys. Don't go into this.
Certainly, when something's not working out.
Don't talk about that.
And you have big numbers on a contract that you're committed to, it can certainly affect your football team for a couple of years. But, that's the business we're in. That's why you want to be right when when you sign a player. That's why our philosophy has been historically is that our preference is to draft, hopefully draft well, bring good young players in, and then what you have when you sign them, and you're, in our opinion, less likely to make big mistakes if you sign your own guys. So, but that's not a sure thing either with the injuries this day and time. There's a lot of moving parts to getting it right with this salary cap.
Does it make you then more nervous to sign a quarterback to a big contract, or to move on from a proven commodity to an unproven draft pick at quarterback?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but as I said, our issues, in our negotiations with Dak have been that we're wanting to be more committed, in terms of the term. And so we're not nervous to sign Dak. I think he's made up. His makeup is all the right things. He's an amazing man off the field. He's a great leader in our locker room. He's a great player, and that's why we've wanted to sign him long term. And certainly when you sign as everybody's starting to figure out, when you sign a player long term, you've got more flexibility in how you work the salary cap with a player who's going to, obviously eat up a big percentage of your cap when you're talking about a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Is there any part of you that's disappointed that he does not want that same extra year or two commitment?
No, I mean, I'm not disappointed. I understand where he's coming from. I have respect for it. I mean, he's betting on himself, and he's done a great job of that, and he certainly believes in himself, and he might be willing to take less on the guarantee, that comes with a longer-term contract, because he just feels like, and historically it's been the case, that the NFL's grown, the business has grown, and the cap has grown. And if that's the case, then he's certainly a businessman, and we respect that. So, at some point we've just got to find the right the right middle ground there that we both can be happy with.
People do what they want to do. Write that down. People do what they want to do. You don't go out there and buy a Porsche and say, okay, I'm going to park it outside. What comes with that Porsche is that you, for dog sure, got to have some type of garage. You got to have the accessories. You got to have everything that goes within the confines of that Porsche. Now, with Dak Prescott, that situation, we can go back and forth and say to ourselves whether it's one of those scenarios to say to our beautiful selves that, hey, take the money, Dak, take the money. And I'm not going to go back and forth with the money aspect, but I'm going to say this. People do what they want to do. And at the end of the day, if the guy made a proposal and said, hey, these are the things that I'm wanting, and we going back and forth with this, and you on the other end is at the mercy seat with the pen in the paper, and you can sign that situation of the contract, or you can write the language to solidify the contract, I meant to say. I just don't think that the Cowboys are all in on Dak Prescott. I don't think that they are. If they were, they would have been did something before that time frame, before you make this guy play to showcase to the world that I'm betting on myself. I wouldn't give him that opportunity. It's kind of like, and this is the best example I can give. Let's say, for example, you dating Beyonce. She's on the free market. She's out there. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to let you continue to go out there and flirt and date with other folks. I don't want to lock you down because you're demanding this size of a ring, and I'm presenting you this type of ring. And therefore, I cannot close the deal because I do not want to compromise. So I would prefer you to go out there and see what you can get. But it got to be under my conditions. You can't go outside of this neighborhood or this state. That's exactly what the franchise tag is. The 1-year deal.
Stephen, before we let you go, last night, right before the game, you found out that Dez would not be on the field, and I wanted to kind of get the temperature on that because he was really disappointed. Were you disappointed to not be able to see him, or were you kind of happy?
No, I mean,
you know,
you don't wish that on anybody. I mean, Dez obviously has worked so hard to get back in this league, and he's one of the great Dallas Cowboys to ever wear the star, and we want nothing but the best for him. So we were equally as disappointed that, that he had that letdown, and I'm sure he was so excited to get to be in uniform against us. And as we know, people when they play their ex-teams, they got a little more gas in their tank, and I'm sure it was a big disappointment for him not to be able to play last night. And certainly hate that for him. I think it goes without saying what Jerry, myself, the entire Cowboy organization think about Dez Bryant.
I'm not trying to be conspiracy law, but I don't think that viruses work that way. And I didn't know that COVID was selective. As to say, okay, well, I'm only going to be living on Dez Bryant, and I'm not going to jump from host to host. I'm just going to be within the confines of Dez Bryant, meaning that he was out there throwing the football, and I think that is contagious upon which surface it touched, right? Throwing the football, catching the football, talking to the cameraman, for God's sake, and also hugging and greeting other players and staff members of the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't know that COVID said, I'm selective. I'm only going to be on Dez Bryant. I'm not going to jump out and move to different hosts. I'm not going to be able to do this thing in that small fraction of a second. That's the craziest thing of it all. And from what I heard, right, may God be with those who have COVID, right? I've heard, and I'm not a COVID or a virus expert or anything, but I heard that even if you had COVID, right, and you wait your 10 days of quarantine or what have you, and you're not showing any more symptoms, and if they take a Q-tip, whatever that thing they stick up your nose, it will still come back positive for another 20 days or so. But you have to tell the people that, hey, I recently had it, what have you, and I overcame it, and I don't have any symptoms. They say it still lives within you. I guess the test will still come out positive. So who's to say that, hey, you do the same test? Oh, man, it's just crazy. You do the exact same test on Lamar Jackson, and it still will come back positive, right? It won't come back negative, according to what I just said. It's a very sticky topic. People that lost their natural life to COVID. It's a crazy situation. I heard that now when you try to go to different sports arenas and stuff like that, they're going to have a mandated COVID test that you have to take, a vaccination card that you have to have on. You say, hey, I'm clear, I'm free. Or countries are actually saying, okay, in order to enter my country, you have to have the vaccination for the nation, right? The vaccine, you got to have it. But I didn't know that it is one of those things that when you look back at it, you say to yourself, it's selective. It meaning that it's only going to be contagious if an aficionado says it is. Like Dez Bryant was not in the wide receivers room, like he wasn't with other players on the Ravens team. And it's just him. It's just him. That's the craziest thing of it all. Y'all post me your thoughts in the comment box, what you have on COVID. According to the NFL, it's selective. It don't spread to host to host. It's only certain people that it goes to. According to the NFL, basically. Dez Bryant was the only one that caught it, right? Cliche. He caught it.
And are there any extra precautions that have to be taken with the team today? Because we heard, Dez was hugging Zeke and other players, and there was contact. Is there anything extra you guys have to do, testing-wise or anything protocol-wise today?
Well, we did last night. We certainly checked everything. We certainly have the contact tracing. All that was done and done well by our doctors, by our trainers to make sure no one had spent more than the allotted amount of time with Dez. The great news is everybody was, respectful of the protocol. Everybody had masks on. The conversations were short, and of course, it was outside. So, when we did all of our investigating of the contact that any of our organization had with Dez, we were, certainly felt good that we didn't have a problem.
Appreciate it.
All that stuff could be manipulated. That's all I can say. You dapping it up, you shaking hands. Yes, it's brief, but hey, here's the situation. We would never know, according to the Health and Information Privacy Act, however that thing is. We don't supposed to really know, right? It's crazy altogether. Let me see.
Very much, and thanks for jumping on with us at the start of the show immediately after the game.
Appreciate everybody for watching. There's 105.3 The Fan. The description, the information should be in the description box. But here's the situation, Cowboy Nation. We at the mercy seat of the Joneses. It's up to them to make the right picks in this draft. It's up to them to make the right moves as it relates to the free agency. We don't have no control. We can only root for the team. And a third of us that's watching was fans of the Dallas Cowboys before they even thought about buying the team. So we're not supposed to walk around and fold up like a wallet in a lawn chair because somebody else bought the team. We still have our love and adulations towards this team. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is, they're rearranging the furniture on the Titanic. It's still going down. And we're sitting there wishing and hoping for draft picks. I'm going to say this again. A bunch of rookies will not save this. You will have to be able to go out there and wheel and deal. That is the reality. You will have to be able to go out there and bring in a coach that knows how to put people in the right places. The best example, everybody that's watching this video, you can go out there and buy a beautiful marble chessboard. You can go out there and do it. And you can look at it and say it's beautiful. But if you don't know how to play it, it doesn't mean a hill of beans. Now let that sink in. We got that beautiful marble chessboard. And if you don't know how to move those chess pieces, you can look at it and say, well, the pieces are trash. If you don't know how to use your pawns, if you're trying to hold tight, there's a thing called sacrifice in this game, a business in football. And you think that with this particular organization, that those guys are grinding on film and evaluating tape and looking at players. And I know people going to say, well, they got Will McClay and Chris Hall to do those things. But the reality of it, when you got GM on your name and you have vice president of player operations on your name or VP of the whole entire organization, don't you guys think that he's clawing through film, going through this and going through that, or he got somebody else to do it? Don't you think that person, if they had the titling to go with that they would feel a little bit more respectable in their position? Look, let's not placate this thing around and say, law, it's not about the titling. Well, won't you go to your job and you'll be probably the financial advisor or a financial analyst at your job? but they give you janitorial supervisor name tag and say, nah. We ain't gonna give you the title. You just gonna have janitorial supplies manager, or supervisor, but we're gonna give you branch manager's responsibilities. And let me know how you would feel about that. And I know some people will say, nah, dog, as long as they paying me, they can have anything as my title. And okay. Be that simp guy, or be that sus guy, basically. Be that person. But the reality of it is that the fish rots from the head down. And I know it's going to go over a lot of people's head. It will. All right, Cowboy Nation, post me your thoughts, post me your concerns down below. I done yelled along enough. I'm not mad. I just speak with passion. Because at the end of the day, just like that helmet spins behind me, the world still continues to spin. And there's bigger issues than the Cowboys going on in this world. If you have a loved one, tell them you love them. And the reason why I said cancer is a bitch, because I know for sure I've seen my family members fight, battle through that thing. So I would never, ever speak softly of that. I'm just speaking passionately. And what that coach did over there in Washington, fighting through that and still going out there to coach, is remarkable. And we're crying about the weather over here in Dallas. We're all in our feelings about this and that. We're too scared to bench certain players. And that guy fighting for his life and still coaching. Shout out to him. Kudos to him. Because I know that that's a struggle and that's a battle and a half. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. Don't forget to hit that like, share this content. Let a friend, neighbor, foe know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboy Sports Talk and Beyond. Continue to grind, Cowboy Nation. Continue to fight. Keep your head high. And I still support this team, but sometimes a person got to call a spade, right? In the front office, they letting us down for over 25 years now. We can add it to 26 years. It is what it is. It is what it is. Peace. I'm out.